Hello, this is Dennis Falv, real estate broker with RE/MAX Results. Thanks for joining me in my series, Ask Falv. For all your real estate questions, ask Falv. I wanted to address today a common question that I get relative to appraisals. What is the appraisal process all about? Of course, when a home buyer enters into a contractual agreement and they sit down and make formal loan application, the loan officer will shortly thereafter order the appraisal. The lending institution hires an independent appraiser that is certified and licensed with the state of Ohio to evaluate the subject property. The endeavor is to ensure that the subject property is sufficient collateral for the loan. So if it's FHA, VA, conventional financing, it doesn't really matter. In all cases, a professional appraisal needs to be completed. The real estate appraisers have to utilize a form that's standardized by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. It is a uniform residential appraisal form that they complete, and they submit that to the lending institution upon completion. And the nitty-gritty of that appraisal form, that standardized appraisal form, is what's called the market comparison approach, whereas the appraiser would compare the subject property to 3 comparable sales. It's a challenging assignment for appraisers in many cases to find 3 comparable sales to the subject property. In other words, he or she has to find 3 apples, 3 homes that have recently sold, recent ideally being within the last 6 months, that are in the same area, the same community, same school district, that are fundamentally the same as the subject. In other words, comparing colonials to colonials, ranches to ranches, Cape Cods to Cape Cods. Now, in some cases, those comparable sales, those apples, are not available to the appraisers. They're simply not available. There's been no recent sales. And in that case, the appraiser may have to go back further in time and then make adjustments for the date of sale, any changes in the market conditions from the time the comparable sales sold to present date. Furthermore, if they have to use a comp that has significantly more land or maybe significantly more square footage, they'll have to make adjustments. But basically, the appraisers complete a grid where they compare the subject to 3 comparable sales, and they make monetary adjustments for any fundamental differences between the subject property and the comparable sales. Upon completing that exercise, they will establish a range of value at the bottom of the market comparison grid. The appraiser is then asked to evaluate the subject property from a cost approach to value. What would it take to reproduce that home today, to rebuild it today, allow for depreciation, add back the value of the site and any improvements to the site. And that's also a good reference for the appraiser that he would compare to the market comparison approach. And then the third approach in appraising real estate is what's called an income approach to value, which is really not applicable to residential real estate, to single-family housing, that is, or condominiums. It would be applicable to multifamily homes. It would be applicable to any other income-producing property, such as an office building, a retail plaza, et cetera, et cetera. So, the appraisal process, as it typically applies to residential housing, is challenging for appraisers. It has been for many years now, because the market's been a little bit strange, needless to say, over the last 5 years or so. But once the appraiser visits the home, in most cases, the appraiser will submit the report to the lending institution in about 2-3 business days. So it doesn't really take that long for that to process. There are occasions where the appraiser cannot justify the sale price. They come in with a lower value than the sale price, and that can create some challenges that I'd be happy to address individually. So if I can be of any further help to you, your friends, or family, if you have any questions, or again, if I can be of help in any way, please don't hesitate to visit me on Facebook or send me an email. Thanks again for your time and consideration. Take care.